TVET Coalition is a clearinghouse of institutions, government institutions, private sector institutions, and also civil society institutions, NGOs, international NGOs are all part of the TVET Coalition. The government is investing a lot of resources with its partners into TVET. So through the coalition, we will have more conversation across the country on the TVET policy. We also believe that we will continue to lobby with the government of Sierra Leone and other partners, to improve on TVET infrastructure. We will require TVET centers, TVET schools, TVET colleges in every part of the country. So already the government has started doing that with the establishment of TVET universities, but it requires more awareness raising. It requires more training of TVET instructors and trainers. It requires more support to investments in infrastructure and as well as tools and equipment, to ensure that TVET becomes, much more comprehensive in giving back to the graduates. So those are some of challenges, but government is making efforts to start addressing them with its partners.
That over the period, GIZ, has evolved, and we have been predominantly on skills development, but not only skills. When we develop the skills, we are adding value of how well we can transition those skills into employment, opportunity. So even when we provide the trainings, we are also having programs like the, business loop trainings, facility for growth, facility for innovation, and all of this. So just about the training. After the training, expose the beneficiaries to what we call entrepreneurship. So most of the trainings that we'll provide, it's backed up with entrepreneurship support, kind of grants and the like. And this is what we have been doing.
The Schools Outreach Program had 3 key pillars. The first one was to research key perceptions around how people viewed TVET. The second one was around ascertaining how advice is given in schools around career opportunities and how career guidance actually happens. And then based on that research component of the Schools Outreach, we were able to develop a curriculum of teacher training and a career guidance booklet for teachers. The Schools Outreach Program is an initiative of the TVET Coalition. So we come forward, we come up with ideas within the TVET Coalition. This was led by us, my team here, Africa, and we worked very closely with the working group, which was made up with Schooling for Life, NCTVA, IOM, Sierra Leone Local Content Agency, as well as GIZ. And that was the working group that really brought it to life. Started off with 5 schools with the research, and then we invited them for the training. They're Vine Memorial, Methodist Boys School, Annie Walsh, Prince of Wales, and Ahmadiyya.
The NCTVA provides accreditation, validation, examination, and certification services for all programs below undergraduate, meaning for technical vocational education up to the higher diploma and below, higher diploma, certificate, and for the teacher education, the higher teacher certificate secondary, higher teacher certificate primary, and the teacher certificate. So we provide examination and certification services for these programs. The National Qualifications Framework is a very recent phenomena that is gaining ground in a lot of African countries. It is a system whereby employers, students, institutions, professional bodies, trade associations, and other relevant stakeholders in the education and employment system will come together and agree on qualifications and certification systems which would allow everybody or anybody that is interested to be able to navigate, look through that system and see how one level moves to another level vertically or horizontally. What is the volume of content, of knowledge, of skills or behavior that are required for one to be certificated at a particular level? When we have all these things together, they now form a qualifications framework whereby somebody in the industry can look at that framework and say, I need somebody with a diploma in human resource. If you click into the qualifications framework, you will be able to ascertain the volume of content, the volume of knowledge, the volume of skills, the volume of attitudes that that person is required to exhibit when they are working. So with that, all of us will now know the value of a qualification at a particular level. So basically, that is the qualifications framework. We do have the World Bank Skills Development Project. That project is helping us to do competency-based curricula. Competency-based curricula, we have done in 25 occupations, and we are now having plans to roll out some of the occupations. With this competency-based curricula, and that also will be fed into the qualifications framework. All of those things will now give us graduates that are meeting international standards. We are also developing under the supervision of the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education as supervising ministry. We are also working towards an apprenticeship policy, a policy also on recognition of prior learning. We also want to venture into non-formal and informal sector, the garages, the carpentry workshops, the small businesses, the restaurants, the metal workshops. All these, we want to bring them under the qualifications framework and the certification system so that they will meet national and international standards.
The Skills Development Fund is a component of the Sierra Leone Skills Development Project. So the Skills Development Fund is component 1, which is a $16.5 million grants program where we provide grants to training providers and businesses to increase access to demand-led skills training. So we ask institutions to apply for these grants resources. So we have them divided into 2 broad windows. The first window is where we have the training providers, and the second window is where we have the businesses. So they compete separately. They apply, we have a 2-stage application process where they apply first by providing their concept notes, and after evaluating their concept notes, if we think that they are relevant to the SDF objectives, we'll ask them to present a full-blown proposal, which will also include their budget, their target trainees, their training areas, and we have independent evaluators who will evaluate their proposals, and if they are fit or they match the requirements of the Skills Development Fund objectives, they will be provided with grants to train young Sierra Leoneans into 6 target productive sectors, which are the agriculture and agro-processing, tourism, mining and extractives, ICT, construction and fisheries. So far we have 147 grant recipients, of which 47 are training service providers and 100 are small, medium and large businesses. We have so far about 19,412 trainees enrolled in different institutions, and we also have about 10,712 of them who have completed different trainings. The majority of them are actually from the training providers, where we have about 9,563 who have completed different training programs, and over 1,000 of them are from the different businesses. As we speak, we have about 3,000 more individuals being trained under these businesses, and we expect them to complete against 31st March 2023.
The TVET education and training has been stratified into trade centers at the lower end, technical vocational centers, which you end equivalent to your WASC exams, and technical vocational institutes, which are post-secondary or what you call higher education institutions. These are now in place, and the gap has been having examinations that reflect your training. And the National Council of Technical and Vocational Awards have gone through what is called the National Qualification Framework, such that starting the year 2022, there will now be equivalence in exams that reflects your training, which is a trade test, or your training as an advanced national vocational certificate, or your training in a tertiary institution.
Being part of the TVET Coalition is a very nice structure, a very strong one, but its main focus is to ensure that TVET issues are addressed, and also youth employment as well as the training of young people is addressed, with a strong vision to ensure that we all complement the efforts of government to ensure that youth are trained in their desirable skills and also place them in jobs, which will also serve as a conduit for them to contribute to the socio-economic development of this nation.
We being a part of the TVET Coalition, we intend to continue to be a strategic partner of the coalition by, first of all, providing the relevant technical skills training for young people in this part of the country, but also collaborate with the coalition in terms of how we plan, how we lobby, we advocate to government, so that government will invest more or pay more attention to TVET training institutions within the country.
See, as far Blue Crest is concerned, we started our operations since 2014, and till now we have trained youth of Sierra Leone, and especially we trained in skills-based training. Okay, when we talk about software development, then computer hardware and networking, then we train them graphics design and multimedia. Then we have the MS Office skills. We train them so that they can work in offices, and we have found it so motivating, as a lot of girls are getting training from us, and they are starting their own boutiques. Okay, so in this way we feel ourselves privileged and lucky that we are able to contribute in the human capital development of Sierra Leone.
I've learned a lot about fashion designing. When I came first, I never knew how to sew or even do cutting the fabric or whatever thing. But as you can see now, I can design a cloth. I even designed for myself and customer. I saw this panel skirt. So right now, I'm trying to get into entrepreneurship business. So we need a financial support and equipment.
Fortunate for me, I started a program that placed high priority on professional skills training and critical thinking. That is digital media. I studied digital media, the skills that equipped me with critical thinking skills and graphic design skills, multimedia skills, and also animation skills. First, because because of this case, I'm able to create my own company, and which is the Innovative Intermediary. We are specialized in creating digital content for companies, organizations, and individuals. And also, this skills helped me to grow individually because I was able to improve on myself, start my own business, and build confidence, improve my self-esteem. And also, it helps me to understand the market because since I'm a businessman now, I consider myself, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, provide service to people who understand the market works. And this has also helped me to improve my savings at the same time, to improve my financial literacy.
The challenge is that we recruit people who have some engineering skills, electrical skills, and you try to train them in the solar trade. And now, once you get them trained, the challenge we have is most of them start to look outside, because now you have international companies that are competing with us, the indigenous companies, and they pay better than us anyway. So because of that, many employees are tempted to look outside. That's the one challenge. The other challenge we have is most of our work, FLS Power, for instance, runs 3 mini-grids of country in Segbema, Panguma, and Bintin. Now, to be able to send a highly skilled engineer with solar technician to stay up those rural areas with no amenities, with little medical facilities, it's really challenging. So sometimes they go up there, they spend 5-6 months, and after that, they're really bored, they're tired, they want to come back to the city. That is a great challenge to all of us. But most importantly, the biggest challenge is salaries, because we certainly can't afford to keep the salaries of international standard. And because we have to pay local rates, it's sometimes very difficult to retain good workers. I think these are the key challenges we face in the industry.
The gap is that through the years, our education has been more grammar school type, for which people with skills are not really classified into their certificate levels. So what we are now doing is to get tertiary institutions developing these programs, higher national diploma, degree, or even master's level, and they are the ones starting to train the instructors for our trade centers or our technical vocational centers or our technical vocational institutes. That is one gap. The second gap is equipment. Through the years, people consider technical as more building trades. They focus on carpentry, electrical work, bricklaying, whereas technical is a host of events. We could talk about technical in the fishing industry, technical in the mining industry, technical in the hospitality industry. And now the NCTVA has developed 25 various competency bases that has to be examined. Well, we have not got all the equipment to be able to get students to train to those levels yet.
At the TVET sector qualifications framework, they have an opportunity to go on to doctoral level. They will never see it as a dropout scenario. You must understand that the NQF, which you call, and the National Qualifications Framework, the NQF, is one of the major, policy document that will help transform the TVET subsector, because the NQF tells somebody that you now, in line with academic education, the TVET education has pathway, vertical, horizontal pathway that takes you up to doctoral level, well, in the long run. But now we are managing to make sure that we have at least, the NQF operationalized. As long as that one happens, people who graduate from any TVET center, there will be policy to tell you that as long as he has got or she has got, in HND in one of the TVET institutions, you can now move on to technical university to pursue your BTech or MTech, as the case may be. So that one will transform the TVET education. Nobody will see it as a dropout case.
TVET has helped me in terms of education, climbing from lower level to higher level. In fact, that's why I'm speaking the English language. TVET has helped me to travel out of Sierra Leone, to gather experience and to share experience with other countries. As I sit here, my innovation is so wide because I am into waste management, producing stoppers into table mats, making belts into can openers. People sit in bar and drink and just throw away. Plastics all over the place is being thrown away. As you can see from my back, plastic bags. You can see bags for mothers. They can use this one to put their baby things. Also into food processing, which is good. All this training, we hear it in the radio. We go to training in workshops. They train us. As for me, I've trained in 15 modules. I'm a real business person. I do not do anything that is not part of the business. Because people say if you can produce, you can help yourself to market, to earn your money. So that is why it is good for Sierra Leone to continue, the government should continue to help the youth in the streets, even the elderly ones who are idling around, to go to the training centers and learn something so that we can impart into them what we've learned.
The idea is that for economic growth, there has to be a large number of people with skills and competencies that are required in the job market.